So we just have to finish. We have to finish off yesterday's daf. What do we leave off? Near the top of the Gemara. Yeah, Masav Ula. We're on Sadi Aleph Amid beis. Yeah, Masav Ula. So we had said in the Gemara previously that if the woman, again, we're talking about the cases where the woman went off, where the husband went off to overseas, and she got married, and then it came out because based on the testimony that he was dead, and then it came out that he was alive. So if she had two Eidim, then she does not have a knas, and she could go back to original husband because my havalala mevad. What should she have done? Right, meaning she did whatever she did. She listened to Eidim. What Eidim say goes, and that's it. So Masav Ula. So now we're going to have 6 questions from cases of my havalala mevad. Mi amnina my havalala mevad. Do we say that what should she have done, and therefore she should not have a knas? V'tanan kosav l'shem malchus she'en hogenes. Let's say the cipher wrote the get with a malchus that was not proper, meaning it's supposed to be done. Rashi says the malchus Yisrael, and and he did it for the, what do you call it, malchus Raimi, the shem malchus Madai, or to the shem malchus Madai, the shem malchus Yavan, the binyan habayis. He counted the years to the binyan habayis, the korban habayis, mizrach because of the ma'ariv. If he was in the east part of town and he wrote in the west part, ma'ariv because of the mizrach, west and wrote on east, mamzer, right? So what happened is that he basically, the cipher wrote a puzzle get, and then she got married based on this get. So now, and then it came out that she had no idea it was a puzzle get, and then it came out the get was puzzle. So now what? She's married to 2 husbands. And all these things happen to her, meaning all the cases of our Mishna. She has to get divorced from both husbands. She doesn't get the ksuba. Nobody's made for her in the darim and the mitzias and all that stuff. So when I asked, why don't we say, what was she supposed to do? What was she supposed to do? She got a get. She got a kosher get. The rabbi certified it, right? And why should she get a knas? Why should essentially her life be ruined because they botched the get? So when I answer, she should have read the get, meaning Rashi says lefnei chacham, meaning she was not expected to read the get. We don't expect a woman to read the get to see whether it's a kosher get, right? So, right, but she should have brought it to somebody to confirm. So therefore, she is at fault. Okay, we'll get to the what we learn out from this in a few. Let's just do all the Gemaras. Somebody who marries his Yevama, and the tzara went and got married, right? Meaning tzara, when there's multiple wives, once one wife gets the yibum, and then the tzara goes and gets married. But then it comes out that the wife that had the yibum done to her ended up being an islandess, which means that the yibum was no good. So now this means that this other woman, the second wife, who went out and got married as a regular person, is now her marriage is no good, right? So now she has to.
What's the mizeh?
She there wasn't. Why should there have been any yibum to begin with?
Standard case of yibum.
But it shouldn't. But she was an islandess, so the guy couldn't. The first brother couldn't have kids with her anyway.
Right. That's what's going on. That's what's going on. I mean, how did he not know that she was an islandess?
If you want to say that, fine.
I think, isn't that what you have to say, that they didn't know she was an islandess? No.
I guess so.
Yeah, so again, there's standard case of yibum. The man does yibum to one wife, and then the other wife goes off and gets married. Then it comes out that the wife that had the yibum done was an islandess. So then takes him mizeh. So
What's the mizeh?
she cannot get married to the miyavim, and she can't stay married to her husband.
Why can't she get married to the Yavam?
What?
Why can't she marry the Yavam? She was ever allowed.
Yeah, because he holds that it's like an Ashes ish. Also labal, also laboya.
Not the Baal yet because of Zika.
Yeah. That's what Rashi says. We're going to see this in the next stop, but this sheet holds that the yibum is mamish considered like a marriage. And all these things from our Mishnah. What was she supposed to do? How's she supposed to know that her co-wife is going to end up being an islandess? So when it answers, she should have waited. Right? She should have waited to see if this co-wife was not an islandess. Again, I don't. Okay, it seems to me a lot to ask of somebody to wait. I mean, she was married once, then she had yibum, right? And then this woman, she should have waited. So okay, whatever it is, but that's what it's saying. Fine. So Amar Abaya, Toshma, another case, the third case. Toshma, Kol Arayis Shamru, Paitrus Tzara saying all the rayas that we said, right? So we said if you have yibum if there were a few wives and one of them was a rayis, so therefore everybody's potter. So nobody needs yibum. Halchut Tzaras v'nisu. So now these co-wives went and got married. V'nimtzu elu islandess, and then the ones who were arayas were islandess. So now again they went and got married without they needed. Meaning originally they thought they didn't need yibum or chalitza because one of the wives was an erva to the miyabim. Then it came out that it didn't make a difference because if it's an islandess, it doesn't count. So then they all got married illegally. So what should she have done? How's she supposed to know that the lady is going to be an islandess? So one answers, she could have waited, right? Should have. She should have waited to see if this lady is going to be not an islandess. Fine. Case number 4. Amarova Tashma Kosab Cipher Get Leish V'Shoiver Leisha. So normally the way it works with the get is you write the get to the woman, and the man gets a shoiver. A shoiver is a receipt that he gave the get. So instead, what did he do? Yeah.
This second Diboy Lolam Tuni. This I really don't understand.
Why?
She was an erva, so the yibum didn't happen. Meichatesi, she even got married. Lamtuni for what? The erva was an islandess. It turned out the erva was an islandess.
To wait to see if she's what I don't do with marriage, just to wait to see if she's an islandess.
How?
I mean, how? How? You see, the lady doesn't look like a lady eventually till she's 20 or 18, whatever we said 2 weeks ago, or 3, whatever it was. Should have waited to see if she matures. If she doesn't mature, then okay, maybe she's an islandess.
What's the case? This lady was married already. She was married to this woman's husband.
Correct.
Yeah, so what? She always stayed in the house in Fallsburg, so she never saw her. Maybe
she was a katana.
Which one? Who was a katana?
The islandess when she got married. It was a regular katana.
So there's no chashash. When there's no chashash, we would still say boiler amtuni?
No. After you can't do a katana anyways with the yibum, right? You have to wait.
So no, not here, because she's an erva.
You don't have to wait because they're all potter. Because she was a sister-in-law, or she was a daughter, or whatever. Sister-in-law, they all are. She was a daughter, she was a granddaughter, whatever the cases were in the Mishnah, first Mishnah, right? So everybody said, Givaldik, we don't need yibum, we don't need chalitza, let's go off and get married. Right? But this girl was 12 years old. So what's your rush? You should have waited to see if she got mature.
So essentially, this iboila lemtune is in every single case of yibum or chalitza.
Yes,
Everyone has
that's
to
what
wait
it
for
says.
6 years.
Yes, that's what it's. Yes.
Wow.
That's what comes out from this Gemara, 100%. It's again, like we said last week, I don't know if the Gemara means that's
It's
what
not
has
so
to
bad,
be.
Gershon, because the brother was only 3 months old, so
You have that case.
they had to wait longer. Had to wait longer for him.
You have that case too, right? Yeah. Anyway, so the Taisus Tashma saying why it's the same teretz and why you bring the same kasha twice, but whatever it is. So that's that one. So then the next case is again, you give a get, the woman gets the get, and the man gets a receipt. And what happens if this cipher swapped it? Right? Because of cipher get leish v'shover leisha v'tah v'nosan get leisha v'shover leish. He gave the get to the woman, right? And the shover to the ish, and then what? And then the man ended up giving a receipt to the woman, and the woman ended up giving the get to the man. Wonderful. Now we got nothing going on. Right? Nobody did anything proper here. And then the man one day decides to go look at his receipt, and he sees that it's the get. So wonderful. He never gave his wife a get. And then the woman looks, she thinks she has her get, and really it's a receipt. So everybody's got to get divorced. And all the things that in our Mishna said. So it's out. So the Gemara says, what was she supposed to do? So the Gemara answers again, she should have shown the get to somebody, to a rabbi, to see. Right? Fine. Next, in the case number 5, Amar Rav Ashi Toshima, Shina Shmayu Shma, if they changed his name or her name, Shem Iro, Teitze Mizeh Mizeh.
Tiago, so even back then, nobody trusted Bezdin. You had to go verify also.
Yes, I was waiting to get to the end of the Gemara to discuss this. Yes,
it's not a new problem that Bezdin means nothing.
Well, I don't know. It means Bezdin means nothing, but that you can't trust. You gotta double check. Yes.
That there are bad Bezdin.
What? So the get's no good unless it's double checked. What about all these stories of Rav Nata? The only rabbi this guy ever saw in 44 years was Rav Nata that one day. And the lady never saw a rabbi either.
Right. And a kohanim. So I don't know. Would they have it's a good question. Would they have been called you should have checked it out? Right?
But this is all Monday morning quarterbacks. What's going on?
Very good. Very good. Wrong season, but yeah. Monday morning quarterback. You're right. But they're saying you should have been done your due diligence, as we say, and checked up on the Bezdin. So you're right. I'm saying what comes out that
it's very schwer to understand this.
Right, 100%.
Rav Nata's the only religious man he ever saw since his bris, and he doesn't know who his mile was. He never saw a religious person his whole life.
Right. I listen. I have to tell you, I have a couple of times by a chasana, okay, where one of my sister's chasanas. So the Rosh Hashiva my brother-in-law was Masada Kedushin. Reb Feivel Cohen was sitting there. Reb Hillel David was sitting there. Reb Bick was sitting there. He didn't show the ksuba to any of them after he filled it out. Get under the chuppah, no pun intended. I'm sorry. They were under the chuppah, right? And Reb Feivel's reading the ksuba, and he finds a fat mistake that's ma'akev. My father was so mad. He said, I don't understand. You're a Rosh Hashiva. That's very nice. You have yourself a nice little yeshiva. You have these gedolei poskim. Show them the ksuba. Reb Feivel made them refill the ksuba under the chuppah. Okay, they were ticked off at this fellow. Then my different sibling got married, and Rabbi Yerucham Olshin was Masada Kedushin. So I was watching this whole thing, and Rabbi Yerucham Olshin said, saw Rabbi Hillel David there. I don't think Rabbi Feivel was there. And he says, oh, a Rav is here. Show him the ksuba. Bring him over the ksuba. After he filled it out, said, bring him over the ksuba. Let him look it over and make sure that it's okay.
Because he's a big man. That's why he's able to do that.
Then I was at another sibling's wedding, and there was a Masada Kedushin, and Rabbi Hillel David whispers to me and says, get the ksuba. and show it to me.
Third
And
time's the charm.
And I said, "Are you serious? I have to do this now? I got to go ask the Masada Kedushin because Rav Hill wants to." I said, "I can't believe you're making me do this." I went over to him and I said, Rav Hill wants to see the ksuba. He's like, whatever. It was not. It was whatever. I'm saying, but legitimate.
The first half is your father gave Reb Hill to read the ksuba, even though it's not the biggest covet, on purpose, because he didn't trust the guy.
Yeah.
That's what he told me.
Parents, I want to point out we haven't started the daf yet.
Very good.
Akiva, good to hear from
You
you.
can't join once every 2 weeks when you wake up and expect us to go on your whim.
And you wonder why I don't join. We haven't even started
You're
the daf yet. I'm
welcome
already
to
up
do
there.
whatever
I'm
you
already
got to
Excuse
do.
me.
8 minute
Excuse
stop, 7 minute
me.
stop.
Akiva is very steady. He comes every Tuesday.
That's right. Even on No Torah Tuesdays, I show up.
Is today Tuesday?
Is it Tuesday? I guess, right? Anyway.
By the way,
but
I
anyway,
thought
so-
today was Monday. I pulled out the garbage thinking that tomorrow's pickup.
There you go. There you go. But
Oh, we
anyways, no,
started at 9.
there is such a thing as showing another clearly. That's what this Gemara is saying, right? But that the person's mechuyev to it. Well, we'll see it the next Gemara. Also,
Yeah, but
Anyway.
if that was the case, then every Pesach you have to go double check what the Rav said on everything. The whole system breaks down.
That's not what the Gemara is saying here. The Gemara is saying we have an Ashes dish. You have to be very careful when it comes to mamzeirem. That's what the Gemara is saying. Showing.
no, that's true.
That's what they're saying. They're not saying more than that. We're so big if the husband died and there's rechaver things going on. Yichus matters. You have to make sure. You have to double check.
He's right. He's right.
You have
Akiva
the
is right.
Gemara.
No, but they also said to
Yeah.
double check a get. They also said to
Again,
double
this
check
is not about a husband
Against the
dying.
same
Against
thing.
not-
No,
If
that's
it's
right.
bad, you're
It's
gonna
not
have
the same
mamzer.
thing.
Invite her.
You went.
It is the
No,
same.
you went to a competent. You went to a competent Rav to get a get.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. You went to what's it called? The system breaks. If you
What
go
would
and
you
check what
rather?
everyone
That you
says.
embarrass the Rav?
Yeah,
or
you
have
have the
mamzer?
Gemara and
Make your
Kedushin
No,
choice.
that
so
anyone
where
that's
does it
not
stop?
a Bucky and
Which
good
child-
Where does it
Kedushin
stop? It
shouldn't
stops
get
when you have
involved.
mamzer. That's where it stops.
You're Rabbeinu. It's
You
true
have the
that you
Gemara and
shouldn't.
Kedushin. Yeah,
Right.
that's it.
But,
If you're not a Bucky, don't be involved.
Yeah, but the bottom line is if the person is a Bucky, so then it sounds like here you have to check. Unless you're saying that this was not done by Bekiim, maybe.
Could be.
It's Yaakov. I'll bring
Yeah.
a raya that not everyone wrote. We're not Bekim when they wrote Gittin. The first Gemara in Gittin. They weren't all Bekim Lishma.
Well, because what? Because of
They weren't all
Mechonei
Bekim
Nefta.
Lishma, and yet they wrote Gittin anyways.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear. Yeah. All right. Listen, it's yeah. I don't know. Whatever. When I have a bedika cloth that's shver, unless it's a slam dunk, no good, I will not passel it without showing to somebody else. I'm not saying I'm no tzaddik. I'm not saying I'm a bucky, but why? Why not? Why shouldn't I show? Just it's a headache. But other than that, but anyway. So it's okay. That's what's the next case. So Shina Shmayu Shma Shem Ira Teitzim Mizeh Mizeh. She should add somebody read the get. The problem is that a lot of Rabbanim, the ones that are smart, I hate to get back to this, say, oh, somebody else wrote the get. I'm not getting involved. That's the problem. So now what do you do? Okay, whatever, fine. Amar Ravina, Toshima, Konse beget kereach. So this literally means if a woman got married on a bald get, right? So what does it mean, a bald get? So it's called a get makusha, which is basically when when a kohen is getting divorced. So you want to stretch out the get for as long as possible, because once they get divorced, they cannot get remarried. So what you do is you write some of the get and you fold it over, then you do it again, and then you sign each thing. But what happens is if it got messed up and the get became puzzle. So Teitzim Mizeh, same story. Again, answers by the she should have written it. Fine. So those are the cases. Then Rav Papa saw lemevad uvda b'may havalei lemevad. Rav Papa wanted to do an uvda, and based on my havalei lemevad. Right. So he wanted to, and he wanted to let her go back to her husband. Right. Meaning he wanted to be mekel, like Akiva was saying. He wanted to be mekel, because she had no choice. So Amalei Rav Huna Breidu Rav Yishua Rav Papa Vatanya Kolhani Masnaisa. we had all these masnaisa which didn't care about my havala mevad. So Amalei v'lav sheninu, didn't we give an answer? Right, that in all those cases she should have done her due diligence, right? But mashma that if she didn't have a choice, then Shitaka would be able to stay with her original husband. So that's what that. So based on that, Rav Papa wanted to be Mekel. So Amalei, so he said back to Rav Papa, Vashinuya Leiko v'lismar, on an answer you want to rely on terutzim, right? Meaning it's very nice that they were terutzim, but you can't take the. I don't know if it means that don't take the terutzim serious. What he's saying is yes, we had ways of answering why all these cases they got divorced. They had to get divorced from both. She had to get divorced from both husbands because she really could have done her due diligence. That doesn't mean to say that in any case where she doesn't do her due diligence, where she can't do due diligence, then she's allowed to go back to her husband, right? Like Akiva said, it's shver, it's gittin. We're talking about mamzeirem, we're talking about yichus l'klai. So just because the Gemara gave terutzim doesn't mean that we're supposed to go with it, right? Upasak and Amar Rav Ashi l'kala loy chashinon. I'm sorry. Upasak, and that was the psak, right?
See,
Meaning,
the flip
and
side
that's the way
this is mishumi guna kilo barabanan. So it's a funny dynamic.
Well,
There's
here
a little bit of a contrast.
Here it's not iguna. She's just going to have to get married.
I know that, but iguna is going to be the same problem. Iguna is the same issue.
That's how we got into the mess in the first place.
I understand. Even though we say mishum iguna, you still have to be super careful. So like,
yeah, but
they're contrasting ideas.
Correct, but this lamaisa, this case here is not iguna. Right?
I know, but the ones that have to do with misa, they also you have ma'avala mavad.
Correct.
So I'm saying you have ma'avala mavad, you also have mishum iguna.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, lamaisa, the way we pasken with this is based on this last Gemara, is that if a woman by mistake gets married to somebody else, lamaisa, we're not makel, and she has to get divorced from. She can't go back to her original husband, and she can't stay married to her husband that she has now. So if there's a mistake in the get, you cause big problems to her. That's the way we pasken. All right. Fine. Okay. Amar Rav Ashi l'kala lechashinon. Are we not concerned for rumors? Right. Meaning, if there's rumors out there, meaning we're all saying that she come in all these cases, we're saying another set of aidim came, or another aid came, or the guy showed up. What happens if there's just rumors that the guy's alive? That's not enough to make her have to get divorced. Gemara says, because we're going to ask, well, hey, Kala, which type of rumor? If you're talking about a call that comes out after Nisuin, after they're already married, meaning after she's already married to the second husband, Rav Ashi already said this. Rav Ashi, call on Tamid Aleph. Now, call Kala, the Basa Nisuin, Loy Chashinan. We don't listen to any rumors that happen after they're married. If there were rumors that came out before they're married, okay, so then we'll say don't get married. All right. So then, but once they're married and the call goes out, then it's not, then it doesn't apply. Meaning we don't listen. Yeah. Yeah, and then Taisus actually has a couple of different shatim exactly what the rumor is. All right. It's stam. One of them is stam rumors. I'm just learning the first Tarts and Taisus, the first Pshan Taisus. Yeah, the first Pshan Taisus is when the rumors went out that the original marriage was not good, not that something happened after that. Right? Meaning, like Rashi says, kohen shenasa isha v'achal yotza le'akol grusha izayna. Right, but that's what it is. Okay, but either way, a rumor that goes on after they're married doesn't apply. Mao, the same. So then the Gemara says, okay, so when was this rumor? So Mao, the same. Since they came to Bezdin, and Bezdin mattered her to get married, and Kikol the coming Nisun Dami, it's considered like a rumor that happened before they got married. For Titzar, and then she should become Asar, because again, since she was in Bezdin, and they had to prove with one aid in Bezdin that the husband died, So that means that there's already rumors that the husband maybe was around. Otherwise, what's going on here that they even needed this whole thing? Kamash Malan would say, no, it's considered a brand new rumor after they're married, and she's allowed to stay married to him. Even though, because we look at it, the rumors that they happened after she got married. Fine. Nitzas al pi Bezdin Tate, if she got married, right, from Bezdin, meaning she got married with Eid Echad, then she has to get divorced from both husbands. So Iri, Lesela Masnisin, and there's another hot button topic over here having to do with what they did. Lesela Masnisin with the Tani Be Midrasha. Does our Mishna not hold what we learned in the beis medrash, the Tani Be Midrasha? Hayru Bezdin Sheshaka Chama. If Bezdin set up psak on Shabbos afternoon that it was already sunset, and Mamela people started doing malacha, they started going to the pizza shops, Ula Besaiv Zarcha, and then the clouds cleared and then the sun came out. So now Bezdin obviously made a mistake. So Ein Zu Hayra, that's not called a Hayra, Ela Tois, that's called a Tois. Meaning, what's the difference? So we said a Hayra, if Bezdin paskened something incorrectly, everybody's potter from a korban, at least from a korban for whatever that they were over on. They might have to bring a korban that Bezdin made a mistake, right? But the people are potter from their individual korbanos for doing something wrong, right? For Rav Nachman Amar, right? So, but it's a tois. So when it's a tois, then they do have to bring the korbanos. If it's hayra, then not, right? For Rav Nachman Amar hayra, Rav Nachman said it's considered hayra, right? And therefore they're not. They don't have to bring korbanos. Right, so that's a machlokes. Some Rav Nachman take the hayra. I'll prove to you that it's considered hayra. The b'chala Torah kulei dechad lemem, because in the whole Torah we know we don't believe 1/8. And here we do believe him. My time alam b'shem the hayrahi. Isn't it because it's a hayra from Bezdin? Bezdin decided that they're going to accept for this woman's eidus because of aguna, they're going to accept her. They're going to accept her eidus. The not her eidus, the eidus on her behalf, right? So you see, it has to be a hayra. Fine. So Omar, that's Rav Nachman's raya. Omar Rabba Teda the toys. So I'm going to bring a proof that it's a mistake. Let's say Bezdin paskin that something was chaylev and dam for heter. And then they decided, you know what, we were wrong, and what we paskin was chaylev and dam is really not, right? Meaning what they paskin on this chaylev and dam, that it wasn't chaylev and dam and it's mutter, right? So then they first said it was mutter. And then they went and they found, I'm mixing it up. Hold on. They paskin lahetim. Then they decided that is issa, right? If they go and change their mind again to say it's mutter, we don't listen to them, right? It's the same thing. If you have a case where an eid echad comes and says that this husband died, Sharina, we're gonna let her get married. Also, Trey, Hasan, if two eidim come and say, no, that guy's full of baloney, he is alive. If another aid comes, we're gonna allow it. So you see that it's different than what would be by Bezdin. My time, because the first thing was a mistake, right? So since it was a mistake, then they can go back on it. Okay, so that's basically the machlokes.
Not really a mistake, though.
Why not?
Bezdin's mechuyev to paskin al pi tu eidim. It's not a mistake. That's what the Torah told him to do.
What do you mean? Yeah, but they did make a mistake.
That's a hira, though. It's a real hira.
Yeah, why don't you say that they didn't do investigation? Same way you say 2 blocks before the lady didn't do enough of investigation. So Bezdin has to do an investigation.
You end up with 2 sets of eidim that are sliced from each other. What investigation?
I don't know. I'm not a dine and I'm not a private detective, and I have no idea.
It's not 2 eidim that are says to each other. That's not how Rashi learns. It's not eidim and machishim. It's the second eid echad is coming and saying the guy died later. So it's not Edom Mamshishim like you learn.
Well, maybe we'll have to see. It's not.
I'm saying that's what Rashi says.
Yeah, but it's right. And then the question, we're going to see in another 2 blocks from now that it's really Edom Zaymimin. It's not really your standard.
Fair, but
Edom.
right now, the way the Gemara is learning Al's Toys, it's because it's just talking about the Edom that are Makish, the Eidachid originally. The Eidachid coming later on has nothing to do with the Sugya. The point is that Rashi is saying that the 2 Edom are saying you did a B'tois. You were wrong to make a Rav B'tois.
Either way, the original psak alpi, the set of 2 Edom that came was a real Oirah. The fact that turned out to be a toast doesn't prove that the case we're trying to prove to is a toast.
Well,
paskened alpi 2 Edom. That's a Oirah, not a toast.
Saying that's the Machlokes here.
Yeah, but he's proving the case that he's proving from. How is that a good raya?
I don't understand. What's the problem? He's just
proving to a natural case. Hayru Bezdin Shashak Chal. Right? That's the original case. There's no Edom, there's no nothing. Bezdin looked outside the window. They said, okay, something happened. Now there's a Machlokes Amiram, whether that's a Hayra or a Tos. The raya that the Ziri brings is from a case which is a Hayra. He's proving that it is a Tos.
That's the way he's learning it. Yeah, that's the way he's learning it.
He's learning that when Bezdin Paskas alpi 2 Edom, that's the Tos.
No, the Tos was the Eid Echad was the Tos. The first Eid was a Tos.
The first Eid, so they paskened that it's mutter. Then the 2 Edom came.
Right.
And they paskened it's asur. Then the
then
fourth Eid came.
Right.
Kind of joined the first one.
Right.
But the Tos here is on the 2 Edom.
No, the 2 Edom is what made a mistake.
They made 2 mistakes here. The first were mater al pi Eidachad, then they asur al pi 2 Edom.
Right.
Now the mater al pi the 4th Eid again. So the only Tos it ends up with is the 2 Edom.
I don't know if that means that it was a Tos, because 2 Edom they have to believe.
That's what I'm asking. But that's the only Tos that comes out here.
Yeah, okay, but Rashi says, Rashi says the first one was a Hayra, right? And then you're going to put it back to the original, they're going to put it back to the original psak that they said, right?
Right. That means that the Hayra, the second Hayra that they gave was the bad one.
Well, I'm not so sure it was the bad one. Well, no,
that's what Rashi said. It's because he said that the person died now. The Hayra was a good Hayra. It was wrong to rely on that specific aid in the beginning.
Right.
But the Hayra is not a bad Hayra, Batsim.
So what's the Tos here?
To rely on the original aid. There's a Tos in that specific aid.
But that's what comes out of the halacha, though.
Yes, so that's why she needs a chatos according to this, because it's a Tos. It was a Tos. Okay, we got to go. It's very late, so let's just go by till we could discuss it after, because I'm sure I missed the 9:30 Meyer either way. So then I'm not such a rush. Anyway, so Va'af, Rebbe Eliezer suffered the Tos. He and Rebbe Eliezer also holds the Tos. The Tani Rebbe Eliezer Aimer, Yaakov Hadin Esahar. You take the din and make a hole in the mountain, right? V'tavi chatos shmeina. And then she's going to bring a fat chatos, right? Meaning, don't. Rashi said, don't go with that. It's she relied on the bezdin and that's it. You got to look into it and see exactly what was going on here. So who, if you say that bezdin was a mistake, that's why she's bringing a korban. But if it's a psak from bezdin, amai masi korban, why she have to bring a korban? Right? So the Gemara shlugs that up. It says no, but Rebbe Eliezer Yochid Shasa Baros Bezdin Chayav. Maybe Rebbe Eliezer holds differently than what we've been saying. Till now, we've been saying that if a Yochid does a chet based on a Hayrah from Bezdin, they go scot-free, right? Because Bezdin made the Hayrah and that's it. But if Bezdin makes a mistake, then you do have to bring a korban. So maybe Rebbe Eliezer holds that a Yochid that does a mistake by a psak from Bezdin is chayiv to bring a korban. So the answer is Imkain my Yaakov Adin Sahar. So then why are you going to put holes in the mountain, drill holes in the mountain? Right? So meaning it has to be that the reason why he's saying you should go drill a hole in the mountain to work this whole thing out is because if you don't, then you're gonna have to be chayiv chatos. Right? So therefore it's Rabbi Elazar doesn't necessarily, does agree and holds that it would be considered a toys, and therefore she doesn't do her due diligence, then she's gonna be chayiv. Again, you get into this whole issue. You relied on Bezdin. I relied on the rabbi for the psak. So why am I liable? Right? So same thing with the kashrus. Do you rely on avada kashrus or not? Hey, the rabbi gives the hechsher. It's not my business anymore. It's not my problem. Right? Can you say that? Or not? Right? Once you start looking into the kashrus and say, yeah, I'm going to eat here, I'm not going to eat there, so now you're not relying on the rabbis. So you rely on them, you don't rely on them. A loaded question right there. Fine. Haru Bezdin Linase. If Bezdin gave her, right, so the last line in the Mishna is that Bezdin gave her a psak to get married, and then she goes and she's makalkal. Right? So she messes up. My kalkala, what does it mean that she messed up? Rebbe Eliezer, I'm zinsa. She was mezana, meaning she didn't go get married to somebody. Right? Again, she's a suffocacious ish. And Bezdin gave her permission to get married, not to go be mezana. Rabbi Yochanan Omar, Almana l'kohen gadol, grusha v'chalutza l'kohen hedyot. No, it's a case of Almana l'kohen gadol and grusha v'chalutza l'kohen hedyot. Right? Meaning she was obviously a grusha from a previous marriage. Right? Or she's from this marriage, she's a potential almana. So Mandom is in Kolshake almana l'kohen gadol, the one that says that she was mezana. So for sure, if she married a kohen gadol, Mandom almana l'kohen gadol aval zinsa loy. But if she was mezana, then that's not a problem. My time of the amra asadhu de shavisa pnuya. You made me into a single girl. Right? By a bezdin telling her that she is potter and she can get married. So that's it. They made her into a single woman, and there's nothing wrong with being mezana. At least the midaraisa, there's nothing wrong with being mezana. Fine. So Tani comes in the Yochanan Haru Bezdin Linase. Bezdin, if Bezdin paskened for her to get married, v'halcha b'kilkala, and she was mekalkal, k'goyin almana l'kohen gadol, grusha v'chalutza l'kohen hedyot, chayavis b'korban al kol bia ubia. She's not only chayiv just because she was with this man once, and we say, oh, she was also with one man. Okay. Meaning, again, she got a heter to get married. Then she did something wrong, but she slept with the guy many, many times. So do we go with the gavra? And okay, she messed up with one man, and we say, no, every time she had relations. So Rabbi Yochanan is saying that for every relations, she has to bring a korban chatas. I'm sorry, it wasn't Rabbi Yochanan, it was Rabbi Yochanan quoting it. No, she brings one korban for all. Right? Because it was one, he says it was one isser from the husband, and that's it. Meaning it was she had a heter to marry a man, so she married that man. So then it came out that man was also to her. Fine. That if she got married to 5 different people, 5 different men, obviously at different times, then she does need a korban for each and every man. Since she has since they have different bodies, so therefore she gets one korban for each and every one. So it comes out, there's a machlokes if she messes up, if she didn't mess up, if it comes out that the husband was still alive, so the machlokes is whether there's a chiyuv on each and every bia, or is it just, does it go with each man that she was with? Fine. Fight in the Mishna. Next set of strange cases. So here, the husband and the son went to Medina Sayyad. Right? You know what? You can just figure what's coming next. Then they came and told her, your husband died, and then your son died, which now means that she is allowed to, since the father died, since her husband died when he still had a kid, so there's no yibum. So she's allowed to get married. And then she went and got married. It was the opposite, right? So meaning her son died first, then her husband, which then means because her husband died without kids, she needs to do yibum. And she got married without yibum, which is a lav, right? So Teitze, she has to get divorced from the second husband, right? When there's no first husband, because he Taka did die, it's just a matter of when he died.
So this son's kid is who?
Her husband's kid.
She never had a kid?
It's her kid with the husband, yeah.
So why is there Yibum?
Because the kid died before the husband died.
Okay.
Right. So once the husband dies without any kids. So right. So meaning here the rumor was the last.
We had that before. We had that before. I know where
yes, we had it before. Well, we had it when with pregnant. If she's still pregnant, you have to wait for you don't do yibum until we see if the baby is born healthy, right?
Right, that we understand. But if you had a kid that was alive already, we had that before. It was the first time we had it.
Yeah, we had it.
We did have it. Okay.
Not beferish this case, but a form of this case.
Okay.
Yeah. But anyway, so again, here the rumor in the first Mishna was totally wrong. They said the husband was dead, and he wasn't dead. Here, the rumor was the husband was dead. It's just the order of who died was messed up. She was told that the husband died first and then the son, in which case she didn't need yibum. Really happened is that the son died first and then the father died, so she needed yibum. So v'avlad rishon v'achron mamzer, and the first and the last kids are mamzer, which we're going to see weiter what exactly. I mean the first and the last kids are a mamzer, right? First of all, what do you mean mamzer? It's only a lav. She wasn't an Ashes ish. Okay, we'll see that in the Gemara. Amrullah meis bincha. If they told her your son died, and then your husband died, which means she needs yibum, vinis yavma, and then she did yibum. She did everything the way she's supposed to. It was the opposite. So now she slept with her brother-in-law, did. Right? She's not allowed to be married to her brother-in-law. So Teitze, so she has to get divorced, right? Vavlad, Rishon, Vachron, Mamzer. And the first and the last kid is a Mamzer. Amrullah, they told, third case. Amrullah, they told her, Meis Balech, your husband died, Venises, and then she got married. Amrullah Kayim Haya, he was alive when you got married, Umeis. See, it's different than the first case. In the first case, he came back, he was alive. Here, Hitaka died, but they said that when she got married to the second husband, he was not yet dead. So then Teitze, she has to get divorced. Vlad Rishon Mamzer, V'Acharon Eina Mamzer. So here's where we get to where the Vlad Rishon and Acharon makes a difference. The Vlad Rishon is a Mamzer because she had the baby when the first husband was still alive. V'Acharon, but the last one is not a Mamzer because that he was already dead, the husband. But at least with the rice, it's not a mamzer. 1 second, hold on a second. With the rice, it's not a mamzer, right? But with the rabbanon, it seems like it will be a mamzer because the whole marriage was shaloi kedin. What are you saying, Akiva?
After, if she be'isser with this husband because the husband hadn't died yet, she's not also a boil at that point.
She is,
so, and yet the child's still not a mamzer. She's ushered to him forever, no?
Yes, but the question is that strong enough to make mamzer midaraisa?
I'm saying, in the beginning we said a lav is usher midaraisa. So that's not a lav.
It is a lav, but the question is, first of all, who says it's mamzer from chayve lav, which
we just said in the first part of the Mishna it's chayve lav,
right?
Because we said
right.
Yavam.
Right. So that's a long thesis.
Also, the Baal of the Boyo is a lav or it's a drasha?
Is it a lav or a drasha? I don't know. I'm not sure.
But it's a drasha from Saitu.
I hear. I'm not sure. I don't remember. Could be. Either way, so there's a machlokes whether that's going to make into a mamzer or not. The second one, right? Fine. Meaning, because if you guys see Akiva, the shilas, does it go busted the bia or does it go busted the marriage? If you say it goes busted the marriage, and a kohanim, the kid's a mamzer. If you go with the bia happened after the father was dead, so therefore it doesn't make him a mamzer. That's what it's saying.
So why can't we just be Oker the Chasana and just say it's his nus? And now she had a kid, I'll snus.
Why don't we say that in all these cases?
No, because if the bia happened before and the baby was born, you can't go be Oker a kid's born.
That's true, but why can't you just be Oker the original marriage and make the whole thing into his nus?
Because it's an Isser. Her brother, no, isn't it her?
No, the original marriage, making it to his nus. I don't know. I don't know what the parameters are for when you say this and when you don't say it. Right? I could just tell you, if you go to a beis and they say it, make sure you check up on that beis. All right, that much for sure. Okay, fine. So Amrullah Meis Balech, the fourth case. They said to her, your husband died in Niskacha. We had this a couple of lot ago, and she only got engaged. She didn't get married. And then her husband came. So then Muteris Lachsarloi, then she could go back to her original husband. I'm sorry, so she can go back to the original husband. And even though he gave her a get, that because we make her give a get, make him give a get because there was a kedushin, like paskened agura, that doesn't make her possible for marrying a kohen if she gets divorced, or not divorced, if she becomes an almana, she's not possible marrying kohen because that get was nothing. Right? That get was just to get you out of, like we said, it's just to get you out of looking like people are going to say, oh, look at that. She was engaged to a guy and she went back to original husband. So we say get a get so that so people won't talk. As said Dorsha Belozah Masi, and this is where Belozah ben Masi is darshan, that she's still allowed to marry a kohen, because it says the isha grusha me isha. Right? And nowadays you can make, if you don't know how to read Hebrew, you can darshan this. This sounds like people that are not straight. Right? It says isha grusha me isha. Right? A woman divorced from a woman. That's not what it means here. Isha with the yud, isha means from her husband, from her ish. Right? It says a woman who's divorced from her husband, and not from a man who's not her husband. Meaning, so since she got a divorce from a guy who wasn't her husband because she was already married, so therefore that does not turn her into a grusha. Fine. Zog di Gemara. So what does it mean? My rishon or my achron. Right? What is rishon and what is achron? Yeah.
This last drush of Belozah ben Masi, is that how we know that kedushin is not treifsin by chayv krisis? Why do I need this drush?
No, he's trying to say that even though she got a get, that's not enough of a get to make
There's
her.
no difference between if I walk over to an average woman in the street and give her a get, that's nothing.
Correct.
This get is also nothing.
Correct. But he's bringing a pasuk to back it up.
It's a drasha. I mean, it has to be for something.
I don't know. I mean, I think that's what it is. The Gemara is going to anyways slug it up, this pasuk. So, yeah, fine. And not in a nice way either. It's one of those comments from one Amora to another. Fine, or Tana to another. So the Gemara asks, my rishon ma'achar, what does it mean? First, the first kid's a mamzer and the last kid's a mamzer. Ilem rishon, if the first one lefnei shmua, that the kid that was born before the rumor went out that the wife got married shaloi kedin, and the other one means la'achar shmua comes after the rumor. Listening havlad mamzer. Why don't you just say the vlad is mamzer, right? Meaning, because automatically any kid that you have from the second husband, if it's true that the first husband is still alive It don't make a difference when that kid was born, before the room or after the room, but the kid's a mamzer, right? So it can't be that. So the Gemara answers, the only reason why it says Rishon and Achron is because it had to say the thing in the Sefer. If they told her, your husband died, Vinissa, she got married, they tell her that he was alive, but he died. So Harishan mamzer, the first one is a mamzer, because he was still alive, the original husband. But the kid after that is not a mamzer. So since that case need to say Rishon and Achron, so Tananami Reisha, Rishon v'Achron mamzer. That's what it said in the Reisha. The Rishon and the Achron are mamzerim. Fine. Tanarabanan Zu Divrei Rebbe Kiva. This whole Mishnah is going to Rebbe Kiva. Shaya Aimer. I hope the Olam remembers this a little bit, right? Rebbe Kiva Shita throughout the Yevamos, throughout everything in Noshim is Ein Kedushin Taisim b'Chayvei Lavin. Even a Chayvei Lav, Kedushin doesn't work. Meaning, we know that if you go marry your mother, your sister, or your aunt, it's nothing, right? You're talking to the wall, sort of like regular marriage, parents. But no, I'm saying you're talking to the wall, meaning the Kedushin is nothing, right?
You can punch the wall, too, yeah.
There you go. Yeah. So anyway, so Kedushin is not typhus, but by a chayvei lav, according to almost all of the Tanoim, if it's just a chiyuv of a lav, then the Kedushin works. The mashal, a divorced woman gets married to a kohen. That's an isser lav, right? That's an isser lav. Kedushin, the Kedushin is typhus. Right? But the Rebbe Kiva holds no, Kedushin is not typhus for a lav either. And then therefore the fallout from that is if Kedushin is not typhus, that means that any kid coming from it is a mamzer. So too here, even by Yevamos l'shuk, right? That's only a lav. It's not a chi of chorus. If a woman's supposed to get yibum, and she doesn't get the yibum, she goes and marries somebody else, that's a lav. The kids from that, according to most Tanaim, should not become a mamzer. Our Mishna is going to Rebbe Kiva, who says that the kid is a mamzer, even though it's just a chayvei lav. The Chachamim say there's no mamzer from Yevamos, right? Because it's only a lav. So the Gemara says, why don't you just say there's no mamzer from chayvei lav? Why are you saying there's no mamzer from Yevamos? So the Gemara answers, Hi Tana, Rebbe Kiva, who the Amar, mechayvei lav and the she'er havi mamzer, mechayvei lav and greedy lo yavi mamzer. We had this a few blot ago. There is a sheet in Rebbe Kiva who says that the Rebbe Kiva says that chayvei lavin make mamzer, that's only the chayvei lavin that have to do with relatives, right? Like, what's a mashal of that? Anusas aviv, right? Rashi says anusas aviv, which is a lav, meaning if the father raped a woman, so then it's just, that's just a lav for you to be with that woman. So then since that's a relative, so there Rebbe Kiva says it makes a mamzer. But Yevamos l'shuk or a grusha, chalutza, lakayin, anything like that, it's not going to make a mamzer. Fine. So I'm Rav Yehuda on Talmud beis. Now I'm Rav Yehuda Marav minayin she'ein kedushin taisim b'Yevamos. How do we know that kedushin doesn't work by Yevamos? Meaning, if somebody goes over to a woman waiting for yibum and marries her, the kedushin does not work. Shenemar the wife should not go out to an ishzar. Havaya lazar. There can be no havaya is another word for marriage. There can be no marriage for a zar. Right? So since there's no marriage, so it doesn't. So there's nothing there. Right? For Shmuel Amar, in our aniyus, in our us being poor, Rashi says we have, from the word aniyas daiti, our poor minds that we don't know how to read a pasuk. Tzricha get, she does need a get, right? Meaning we're not, because why? Misapkele l'shmuel, highlight see eishes hameis. The pasuk when it says that the wife of the mace shouldn't go out. Ila lavhu dasa, it's for a lav. Or it's coming to tell you that the kedushin doesn't even work. All right, so Shmuel says since we have no idea what it's coming for, so therefore maybe we have to be concerned that the marriage is a good marriage, and therefore she would need a get. They can't stay married, obviously. Meaning if a Yevamos is waiting for Yibum, somebody marries her, they cannot stay married according to, according to the first opinion, they don't need a get even because it's no marriage. Shmuel's not sure about it, so therefore he says she needs a get. Fine. Halacha kavasei the Shmuel. The halacha is like Shmuel, and she's going to need a get. So Amar Rav Ashi hashda Amar Ameimer hilchos kavasei the Shmuel. Now that Ameimer said the law is like Shmuel, im haya Yevama kohen. Let's say the one that was supposed to do the yibum was a kohen, right? And instead somebody else married her. So then chayletz law. So now there's no way the guy can do yibum, right? Because this lady was married to somebody else. So the kohen can't do yibum. So what we tell him do chayletza, he should do chalitza, b'shayile, and then she's going to be mutter to be with the husband, right? Which is wild. So basically, what we're doing was she did something wrong. She got married to somebody when she's waiting for yibum, right? Now, since the husband is a kohen, so there's no way he can do anything here. Anyways, we say, okay, do chalitza, and then she could stay married to the man that she married. So the Gemara asks, Iskure Iskar, you're the one, he's getting, the one who did something wrong is gaining. You find the case where somebody who did an Aveira is getting, you're trying to give a prize to somebody who did an Aveira. We're trying to make kunsin. She went and married somebody that she wasn't supposed to. She was waiting for Yibum. She went and married somebody else. So we're trying to look for ways that she could stay married to the guy that she married illegally. What kind of craziness is that? That's what I was asking. So it can't be. Elam Yevama Yisrael must be talking about a case where the Yevama was a Yisrael, right? Meaning as opposed to a kohen, right? And Nisan La Sheni get. Now, when the second husband gives her a get for Hutralai, and then she can go to her Yavam, right? Yeah. So, he's saying that of course she can't stay with the guy that she was Mazana with because she has to marry the Yibam, right? But since we're saying that maybe this Kedushin is it's a lav, so then if they get a get, and then she can go marry the Yibam. Fine.
What would she do if the Yavam was a kohen?
Then she's out. She's out from the Yavam. And
she's out from the
second husband also. So lav.
She's out from both.
She's out from both, exactly. In the Gemara's Havamina, we thought maybe she wouldn't be out from both. We're saying, no, of course she's out from both. Right? Fine.
Is he saying we pasken like Rabbi Akiva?
I don't know. Every Mishna we say, it's going according to Rabbi Akiva. Right?
We don't pasken like Rabbi Akiva today.
I know, but
it says
funny
halacha kishmuel.
Correct.
What's halacha kishmuel? Shmuel is Masavka, whether what's it called? Ilalav, Idolay Tafsiba Kedushin.
Right.
What's the
Havamina?
Not according to
Yevama.
Akiva.
Only by Yevama.
It's blue, a very pretty blue.
Why should it be like Tafsiba Kedushin?
By Yevama? Because he doesn't know how to read the pasuk. He doesn't know how to read the pasuk.
But why should there be a Havamina the light Tafsiba Kedushin?
Because the pasuk, the way he's understanding Lesia Eishes Hameis Achutza, Ishzar.
It should be worse than every other law.
That's why I understand it. That's what I think. I don't have another way of understanding it. Fine. So let's see. Yevama Kedushin Einba. A Yevama does not have Kedushin, right? Like Rav. Nesuin Yeshba, but Nesuin she does have. Right? Meaning, so what's the Havamina? We're thinking that if she got engaged to a Zar, if she got engaged to a Zar righteous, she doesn't need, there's no Kedushin. She got married, then there is. So when I ask, Kedushin ain't but Nesuin Nami ain't but. Well, if you're saying that there's no Kedushin, then how can you say that there is Nesuin? Right? How you can't have Nesuin without Kedushin. Right? So Ema, Kedushin and Nesuin means Kedushin and Nesuin. She doesn't have Kedushin or Nesuin, like Rab. But what does it mean that she has Nesuin? Biznus. It means nus. This woman who's waiting for Yibam, and she was Mezana, Asuruli Yibma, she is usher to her Yavam, like we said on Amud Aleph, because we look at it as if when she's Shemeres Yavam, we look at it as if she's actually married to the brother-in-law, even though they didn't actually do the Yibam. So when she goes and sleeps with somebody else, it's no different than as if she was an Ashes Ish, and therefore she's also to the Yavam, and she's also to the person she was Mizana with. That's another pshat. Viva is saying, Kedushin ein ba, Nesuin yesh ba. She does have Kedushin, doesn't have Kedushin, but she has Nesuin. The Michlafa be'isha shahalach ba'ala medina sayam, because we're afraid that we're going to get the case mixed up with a woman whose husband went to Medina Sayyam, right? And then if we're not going to say that she needs a get, so then people are going to think that you could just go, you just can just go back to your original husband without needing a get. So that's what it means. When there's Kedushin, there's no chashash. But when there's Nesuin, there is a chashash that people are going to make the wrong assumption from that. So therefore, we require a get. Fine.
This is a Nesuin d'Rabbanan?
It sounds like it. It sounds like, yeah. Yeah. Fine.
It's the exact opposite of Hefke Bezdin Hefke. Here they created
it's only else get. It's not really in the soon. We're just saying it needs a get. It's not. We're not saying that they're married. Yeah. Fine. It's Amr of Yaneh. B'chabura nimnu v'gamru. In a chabura, they were counted and they learned that ain kedushin toifsin b'yavama. Kedushin does not work with a yavama. Right. So Amr le Rav Yochanan Rebbe. Is this not a Mishnah? The Tanan. The Mishnah. If she says this is you're going to become married to me after I become a ger, or after you become a ger, right? This guy is jumping the gun. It's funny. It fits in with the mussar we did. You could try with mussar we learned tonight. You can't. What Hashem wants something to happen at a certain time, you ain't going to make it earlier or later. If you want to, you have a certain amount of money. You have to know no less or no more. Here, the guy is trying to marry this woman before he even becomes a ger. And before she becomes a ger, he's saying, hey, when I become a ger, we're marrying, but he gives the money now. Or after she becomes a ger. After if he's an eved, after he becomes free, after she becomes free. After your husband dies, imagine that. He's saying to her, I'm going to marry you after your husband dies. After your sister dies, right? He likes his sister-in-law. He's not allowed to marry his wife's sister until his wife dies. Or, and this is the part that has to do with us, he says, I'm going to marry you after you get chalitza from your yibum. In all these cases, not mikudeshes. Why? Because this is something what we call davar shaloi ba'la'olam. You cannot be makna something that's not in this world. You cannot say, I'm going to marry you later when the thing didn't even have, they're not even mutter yet, right? So what's the kasha? So you see that a yavam, after the chalitza, is we're saying that's also davar shaloi ba'la'olam. Now, if a woman who's waiting for yibum can be married to a stranger and the kedushin will work, why is that davar shaloi ba'la'olam? That is something shabbat la'olam. Meaning, if to make a kedushin to a woman, she says, when you become a giyaris, I'm marrying you. So that's davar shaloi ba'la'olam. Who says she's going to ever become the giyaris? So you can't do any sort of kinyan that way. But by chalitza, we're also saying you can't do it. But if theoretically he slept with her, they're going to need a get, right? So that means that's not something shalom ba'olam. That's something that's right here, right now. Theoretically, he could sleep with her right now. So why shouldn't the kedushin work later? So Elamai, you see that kedushin doesn't work. Amralei, so he answered him back. Ilav the deloyla chaspa. If I wouldn't have lifted up, chaspa means the like the broken pieces of earthenware. Mi mishkachas marganisa tuse. Would you have found the pearl under it? Meaning the only reason why you were able to say this Mishnah is because I told you that kedushin doesn't work. So when I told you that kedushin doesn't work for Yevamos, then you said, oh, so then it's considered a davar shalom ba'la'olam. But had I not said it, you would have never have learned it. So Amar lei Machlokes ilab the kalsach gavra rabba. If a gavra rabba wouldn't have praised you, right? Hava amina, I would have told you. Ano masnisik Rebbe Kiva. I would have said that this whole mission is going because of Rebbe Kiva. Da Amar ein kedushin tavzim b'chavi lamed. He goes that kedushin doesn't work b'chavi lamed. So that's what there's no raya that a Yevama doesn't have, like you were saying before, Gershon. It's two different things. I was saying it's no raya that a Yevama doesn't have kedushin, because I would have said this whole Mishnah is going according to Rebbe Kiva. So Gemara says, "Vi Rebbe Kiva ki Amar lo la'achar sheyachletz leich yivmech litviso kedushin." If it's going according to Rebbe Kiva, when he tells her that after she does chalitza, he's going to marry her, litvus of a kedushin, then kedushin should work. Why? Because a Rebbe Kiva holds that a person can give over something that didn't come into this world yet. Meaning, we were just saying that a person cannot transfer something that has not yet been in the world. Meaning, let's give a common example here. I say, we're getting a big shipment of formula. In Yonah the Yomi, yeah? The big shipment of formula coming. So say, okay, I'm going to be makni you the next shipment, right? That's a davar shalom alayim. It's not here yet. So according to what we were saying that you can't be maknit, but Rebbe Kiva was saying can be maknit. The Tanan, kainam antam aleph. Now kainam, shani aisa lepicha. If a woman makes a kainam from kol nidre, right? Kainam. If a woman says that I'm making a neder, that I'm not doing your work, because a woman, part of the ksuba is that she has to do work for her husband. So if she says I'm making a shvua or a neder, that I'm not going to do the work, ain't tzarich l'hafer. The husband does not have to be mefer. Why not? Because that's a tanai ksuba. She has to do it, right? Rabbi Kiva Aimer Yofer, but Rabbi Kiva says he does have to annul the neder. Shema tadif alav yosem and arayla, because maybe this wife was going to work for her husband, sort of like nowadays that the wives work for the husbands a lot more than they have to, right? And therefore, maybe that part she doesn't have to do, and it's like a present. So you see that Rabbi Kiva is saying that something that not in the world yet, because she hasn't done this work, is considered like it's here. So you see Rabbi Kiva holds davar shalom alayim does work. So Gemara answers, no, that's not true. I'm making my hands holy to Hashem. Meaning she's saying in that, she's saying anything that my hands make is to Hashem, not to my husband. Right? The Yadayim is to Yevamos, because the hands are here. She's making a neder against her hands. Her hands are here. In the beginning, we thought she's making a neder the things that her hands make. So that's not in the world yet. And you see, Rebbe Kiva didn't care. Now he's saying, no, what she said is she's making a neder against her hands. That's in this world. So therefore, it's not a raya that Rebbe Kiva doesn't hold the davar shalom alayim. And now tomorrow's daf is all about davar shalom alayim. So
it's a little schwer. No?
Okay, we'll stop here. Good enough, everybody. Yeah, what are you saying, Kiva?
I guess we're starting to sugya, but it's a little schwer, the Indian that your Yadayim didn't produce that extra amount yet.
What are you saying?
Right now we're saying, according to Rebbe Kiva, it's davar shabbat. Right? It's a davar shabbat because you're being mekadosh your Yadayim, correct?
It's a davar shabbat olam.
It's davar shabbat olam, right?
Yes, because your hands are here. That's what you're saying?
Your hands are here, but you didn't create the stuff. What is it like? What is it? Gufla peraisa?
I don't understand what you're saying. She made her hands. She says, my husband is not going to benefit from these hands.
But and any amount that comes out of that, but right now you can't be mekadosh your hands for the stuff that you're meshowed for, correct?
You can't be mekadosh your hands.
So she's being mechalik. What she's being mekadosh your hands for? She's being mekadosh your hands for the hadofa. She could only be mekadosh your hands for something.
In the Havamina, we thought it's for the extra stuff that her hands.
It has to be for the extra stuff. She's meshobed her hands for the rest. She can't go ahead and be mekadosh her hands for the regular. That her ma'aseh are owned by the husband. You remember Kiva's masking to that. So she'd be mekadosh her hands for the stuff that comes after. How you mechalik?
Owned by the husband. It's not bezdin.
But you can't be if she's mekadosh her hands for bezdin. What is she mekadosh for?
Everything.
So then means she's answering her husband on her ma'aseh.
Yeah.
How is she able to do that?
Why not?
It's meshubah to the husband. That's what Rashi says. What does that mean?
Yeah, so you got to look at bezdin.
Whatever you want to call it, it's meshubah to the husband. Rabbi Kiva only said a svar Shem Ta'adif alav. He didn't say that you can be mekadosh everything. You're switching what Rabbi Kiva is saying. Rabbi Kiva says Shem Ta'adif alav. That's what's being mekadosh.
Right.
So not the whole. How are you able to be mechalik?
No, what it means. Whatever her basic.
What is he being mekadosh according to Rabbi Kiva?
Only the extras.
So how are you able to be makadosh your hands for the extras, but not for the regular?
No, I guess I don't know how that works, but that's
what I'm asking.
How it
because
works,
of
I
your
don't know.
kasha.
What?
Whatever's meshubed is already meshubed. That cannot become hektish. Everything else can become hektish.
Is it like gufa bereisa? But that's davar shalei b'olam still.
I wonder, isn't it Rav Huna himself who holds that Isha can say Eini Nizainas Ve'eni Isa?
Is it Rav Huna? I don't know.
I thought that was Rav Huna.
I
wonder
think
if it's because she can say that, therefore it works.
hold on a second. I'm looking up. Yeah, Rashi and Kedushin says what you're saying, Akiva. Got the hot, what do you call it here? What's it called? Hot links? Hot whatever. Says that, yeah, she's meshuvah. The stuff she's meshuvah to, she can't be makadosh.
I guess I'm asking the Matthias to that. So she's makadosh.
Saying, how do you know? So I guess
how does
the
that
normal
work?
output. I guess you find out what the normal output of a lady is.
No. I understand. You know what the normal amount is. That's what you're meshuvah. But my question is like, it's a funny thing. You're not calling it davar shalei b'olam, but it only comes around after you've already produced the other stuff. So it's something that hasn't.
Does the nafkamina that the Taisus gives at the end of Yesh Leim, does that help?
Which Taisus?
The Ramas Rav Kiva Aimer, the last two lines.
Yeah, but that's going in the Havamina, no?
Yeah, but it still works, the Torah. The Atzamasi Adeo is not just a Kenyan Paris, that's Kenyan Aguf.
Right.
The husband owns that. There's no way it's ever going to work on that. Everything else is just Paris. Paris, it'll work. The Paris.
Gershon, I'm not bothered that she can be makadosh, and I'm wondering how the mechanics is. That's all. I'm not bothered that she can be makadosh. Of course she can be makadosh.
So that might be an answer for you, though.
I'm asking on the Matthias. Like, it seems like it's something that would require that she actually created already everything else before she could go ahead and be makadosh, something like that, or Viter, it's davar shalei b'olam.
No, the Paris of her hands are davar shalei b'olam. That's anything that comes out of these hands that's considered Paris is hektish.
But who says she's going to create them? Maybe she'll only make a certain amount.
Then that's not hektish.
So it's not here yet.
Why does that mean it's not here? The hands are huktish for whatever comes out of them. That it might possibly
it's only true if you create more. So one thing if you makadosh and anything comes out is hektish. Here it requires that you've already created something. Who said you couldn't create anything? There's something that is missing for it to be makadosh. You can only be makadosh stuff that comes later, not now. You're right. Normally, if I have makadosh gufay paraisav, it's everything that comes out of a tree. That's not true over here. There's a tanai in when it could be makadosh. It can only be makadosh after a certain amount is created. It's one more step removed.
No, I'm not. I mean, he's really saying that you don't call something that there is potential now. Davar shalei b'olam.
I hear, but it's a little different type of potential than normal gufa piraisa.
No, that is gufa piraisa.
No, gufa piraisa is anything that comes out of it. You're buying the whole Indian of gufa piraisa. You're not buying.
So that's why I'm saying with Taisus it might help. The master, the etzem masi yodeh, the meshubah to the husband is guf, not Paris.
You don't own the wife's hands.
He does. That's what he's saying.
I don't know if it means. Does it mean you actually own the wife's hands?
Insofar as the Masi Adayim are concerned, yeah.
Now you're splitting hairs. That's good for Peresiv also.
I'm asking.
I don't know. I don't know. It's a little different than a normal, like the Gemara Namafkid. It's not the same. When you're buying a tree. I don't know. All right, Tiago, I don't want to keep you.
I'm not. I'm here. I'm just here. Whatever. I'm trying to figure out. This Yevamos. I don't know how anybody can learn. If you learn Yevamos properly, I don't know how anybody can learn any other stuff for the rest of their life.
I'm asking.
I'm just getting the Gemara Rashi.
I know I have to go back. I don't know what we did over there. There's some Gemaras we did before. We just completely skipped over.
Let me tell you. I know. I'm just wondering. Like, I think I don't even remember if I remember how to learn a regular Gemara normal. Like what?
Well, put Yevamos in the same bracket as Shkala.
Much harder. It's not even the same league.
I think
no,
Shkala,
it's just different.
I mean, I don't know. Shkolim, at least, I don't know. I don't remember Shkolim being like this.
It's Yaakov. I want to tell you, I was in Dallas, and the one of the Rebbeim over there also gave the exact same share you gave.
On abortion?
Yeah, and he started off, he gave like a whole hashkafa in the beginning. He said, like, anything I'm going to tell you now, I'm not here to tell you what your, when it all starts. When does the beginning of life start? He's like, that's not what we're here for. We're here to find out what the din is mitzad abortion. He said, you want to tell me the svara is from the conception or from when the head comes out? He's like, he called it, they're all beis svaras. Whatever you feel is right. So this guy kept on hocking him up. He's like, I don't understand. Why when the heads come out, why is that the starting point? He's like, who cares? So he's like, what should it be? It should be from the time of conception. Fine, that's a very nice svara. But that's not the halacha about when it's considered murder. Like he kept saying, like you have to forget like all the politics surrounding abortion to really go into the halacha.
Right, that's
and then he quoted the Chavis Yar.
I quoted the Chavis Yar.
Where he says you have to look at the halacha. Don't worry about the all the other stuff.
I thought the timing does matter.
What?
No, but the point is, the guy was arguing with him on like the Metzias. He's like, I don't understand. Why won't we consider it life, 7 months in or before then? Like, it doesn't matter. Halacha dictates what do we consider tzich or whatever you want to call it. And that's it.
The way we came out, it's the second that it gets fertilized, it's considered a life. I think that's pashut.
Right, but the question is, according to it's a life, it's a chatzi life, according to Mishna. It's not a real life. It's a nefesh. It's a chatzi nefesh. He doesn't say it's a full nefesh. That's why there's a din. You don't. That's why Mishna says inside the din right, Dave. We're gonna allow the mother to win over the child. They're both right from each other. That's why the Gemara says afterwards that you can't after the baby's born you can't choose each one because they're both full nefesh. Before then, the Mishna holds the chatzi nefesh.
Yeah, I mean the question is. Yeah, well, it's not so much a chatzi. Is it chatzi?
He says it like that. It says not a full nefesh. How else do you want to Moshe? He holds it through tzitcha.
Right. No, but meaning the pshat is that how do you say it? It's a nefesh. The question is, does it have a din of a nefesh b'negeya to hariga and ritzicha? That's all.
But it is ritzicha. Moshe holds ritzicha.
According to Ramesh, it's
right there.
According to everybody, whatever they hold it is, that's from the first
day of conception. So then what is the difference between the mother and the child? Why aren't they be considered rights from each other in the womb?
What?
Why mitzad when they're in the womb, isn't a redif from mitzad the mother to the child? And the Revised would say mishamaya.
No, but it's still considered.
If the child is a nefesh, why in the mother's womb do we not say the mother is being right if the child? And make it taste for you to decide which one should survive.
What are you saying?
You have to say that the child is a lesser of a nefesh than the mother. Otherwise, the mother is being right with the child in the mother's womb.
No, that's true, but it's whatever being it is from the beginning.
Fine, but it's a lesser being. And according to Tzitz Eliezer, it's not even something that's considered tzitcha.
No, but whatever the isser is, according to Tzitz Eliezer, it is.
It's a matter I would say he wanted to say it might be an isser chavola on the mother. Hence, you're allowed to do it in extenuating circumstances. Otherwise, how could you say you could go ahead and do it tzitcha?
No, because it depends what you hold it is. That's all.
I'm just saying that Tzitz Eliezer holds it's mamish not even tzitcha. He said he wanted to say that Tzitz Eliezer holds it's not even tzitcha, and according to Ramesh, it's a lesser version of tzitcha.
Correct. But whatever it is from the day of conception.
And we don't say the Gemara about Maya?
No, so that's Ramesha and Ravuntiman all learned that Maya does not allow you to do an abortion any less than 40 days.
Ramesha speaks it out in the Igros Mishna. He didn't learn that.
Yes. Yeah, he does. In that tshuva there, he discusses it.
Interesting. Yeah, we didn't get to that part. We just discussed the Iker drushes of the Gemaras.
Oh yeah, well, we got to the part. You got look at the last where the Tzitz Eliezer goes after Ramesha.
And I heard Ramesha rips on him also.
Okay, and then Tzitz Eliezer rips back at him.
I'm bad. Saying the way he presented Ramesha, Tzitz Eliezer makes no sense.
Well, I don't know. I think
I'm saying because Ramesha asks, like, what does it matter if it's not Ritzicha? Why does it matter 7 months to Tay-Sex, baby? Why should that matter?
That's true.
Who cares? It's not Ritzicha. Right. Let the mother get out of the way.
So there were
whatever you want to consider extenuating circumstances, where do you draw the line?
Right. So it's later on the Tzitz Eliezer said even up to further than that.
So it's very arbitrary. But the Tzitz Eliezer are very schwer how to learn up the Rambam.
That's true, but it's very schwer how Ramesha learns the Taisus, and it's very schwer how Ramesha uses.
But if you saw, there's a Dibras Maisha. I want you to know there's a Dibras Maisha that Ramesha Mamish flips it and shows how Taisus is Mamish mashma like him. And it's schwer to not learn like him in Taisus and Sanhedrin.
Yeah, but to say that Taisus is a printing mistake and to say that Marit is a false tshuva.
But you should see the Dibras Meisha. The Dibras Meisha learns it up in Sanhedrin, Mamish Lehepa, in terms of a riot to what he's saying.
And then what do you call it? Akiva, and the last tshuva, if you look on the Machlokes that were posted, Tzitz Eliezer brings a letter from a Rav in America who says he knows with Rayas Bruras that the Ramesha tshuva is forged. But you know who that's after. You know who that's going after.
Who's that going after?
Tendler. The tshuva's written.
Who is the one who ratted him out though? Was my question.
It says it there. Look at the last page.
No, I did. It says the Rav's name, or it just says a Rav in America.
That's funny. Hey, it's funny. My Siri picked up Rabbi Tendler was going